Shalom and welcome to another edition of our Daily Bread. I'm Messianic Torah, and this week's Parashat is the second Parashat of the book of Vayikra, also called Leviticus, and it's called Tzav, which means command. And this week's Parashat starts in Leviticus or Vayikra 6:8 through 8:36 with the half Torah in Jeremiah or Yirmiyahu 7:21 through 8:3, also 9:23 and 24. So my message for 2014-15 is called Priests and Commandments. And I'm going to do things, I'm trying things a little differently. I used to do a long recording of the whole message, which was normally about an hour. But I know that for some people that's hard to sit and watch for a full hour. So I'm going to break up the bullet points into a series of smaller videos. And then if you want the full message, you just go from this video to the next video. I'll provide links there to the next video with each video that I post so that you can just go straight through them. And I'll probably maybe build a playlist with them so that you can just listen to the playlist. Anyway, so the first segment is called Moshe Commands Aharon and His Sons. And in this week's Parashat, what we get, it's always a good place to start with the name of the parashat. So Tzav means to command. And the second thing that I like to do is take a look and see, what's this really about? What's going on in this week's parashat? Well, when you look at the bullet points and the summaries, you can see that we're getting a bunch of the laws, and the tabernacle is getting ready and put together so that the service can start in the house of YHWH. So when we look at these opening parts here, what we see that in verse 9 it says, or 8, I'm sorry, and YHWH spoke unto Moshe, saying, command, right, that's Tzav, Aharon and his sons, the law of the burnt offering. So when we look at what this means, I think there's a lot of people who see that Aharon and the priests, you hear verses where people go, oh, we're a nation of kings and priests. Well, first of all, there's a couple ways that could be interpreted. It doesn't necessarily mean it's both, right? Some people would interpret that and say, see, every common person is both a king and a priest because they're part of Israel. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation could mean that the kingdom of Israel will be a kingdom of kings and priests. Not necessarily that the kings are priests. There's different ways to interpret it depending on how you look at that. And just because it says kings and priests, a third interpretation, just because there's kings and priests doesn't mean that everybody is a king or a priest, or that everybody's a king and a priest. You have option C, which is that there's kings and priests among that nation, but doesn't mean there's not also common people. And so one thing that's funny, that regardless of how you feel about that, the funny byproduct of it is that when people quote that or when people talk about that, usually they see themselves as, well, I'm worthy of being a king, or I'm worthy of being a priest. And I think that it's interesting because most of the people that I've met over the years, very few of them are even willing to obey the basic commands that they've been given, like eating kosher and doing some of the other things. A lot of people, most people are pretty loosey-goosey about how they observe the Torah, though they may not feel that way. They may think they're doing a great job, but that's the reality. And so when I look at the job of a priest, and I think about how many rules, right, because you have all your rules of being an Israelite, but you have your specific rules and all the rules of the Torah, but then you have your specific priestly rules as well. And I'm thinking, if most people aren't even doing the basics that they're supposed to, how can they go on to add additional things? And the idea of saying, well, we're priests, sounds good to take that title, as if the title imbued you with any benefit. But there's a responsibility on the backside of that. And that's how this parashat opens up. You get Moshe told to command Aharon and his sons. So they're going to get commandments. So the message is called Priests and Commandments because there's this connection between serving YHWH and the responsibility of receiving the commandments and receiving your commands and doing them. And we're going to see that illustrated very well in this week's Parashat. So, this idea of kings and priests and servants, everybody wants to claim the title, and they want to claim the benefits. They want to hijack the benefits, but they don't want to do the work that's required of them. And Moshe represents the letter of the law. It represents the written Torah. And what the written Torah does to the servants, those who would serve YHWH, is give them the commandments. Okay? He gives them the commandments of what they should do. And then they're expected to do that in order to start the service. So I hope this was a blessing, just a quick 5-minute video. You can go to the next video of this message, which is called "The Fire Shall Never Go Out," and feel free to subscribe and like these. And let me know if I'd love to hear your comments on it. It's meant to be thought-provoking, and also what you think about this opening section of the Parashat, and or what you think about the new format, if you like the longer videos or if you like them being broken up into smaller ones. So until next time, I'm going to say shalom.